Call to order, Buhl City Council meeting, Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Mr. Jeffries, please take the roll.
Councillor Hadrava is absent. Councillor Keeley?
Here.
Councillor Loeffler?
Here.
Councillor Towner?
Here.
Mayor Carter?
Here.
We have a quorum and we may conduct business. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, all rise for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Mr. Jeffries, do we have any changes to the agenda as presented?
We will, tonight, Mayor Carter, we will take an additional item up at the end of business. If you wish to title it J, at that time you can. That item would be just to set dates for Water Tower public meeting, or meeting to start with. Also, along the way, there'll be a couple of clarifying things in certain items, so there will be some changes to a couple of the standing agenda items this evening.
Okay. With that, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
No motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Anything further? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Reports from department heads.
Thank you, Mayor Carter. I'd like to call on Engineer Jamnik if he has anything he'd like to say this evening.
Hello, John.
Good evening. Quick update on the punch list, not going very good. Dr. Joel and Sop about getting out there doing the restoration, so they're trying to get out there. They're really busy, but they know they have to get it done before. It's backfilling the curb and everything out at the new development, and we think we have a plan for the curling club. We did talk to Park Paving. They aren't doing any paving in 2024 is what they told me. So that means just for the response from them, and I cannot get an answer from that paving company from Virginia or from the Hibbing area. So I think we got, a combination of some sealant materials that I sent an email to Tony today about some Radneck material and some bentonite, and I think Tim gave us ideas on some materials to do too, so we're gonna kind of discuss that one more time on site. We may not do the paving of it, but
Yeah, because I thought Brian had said that he did not want the bentonite. They were worried about if it didn't work, what would happen if they had to take it out or whatever. So they did not want to go that route.
okay. Well,
So hopefully you
okay.
are going to meet one more time. So,
Okay. I think the next step is to meet with those two, and Tony and I will finalize the plan so we can get something done here soon.
Yeah, the weather's gonna change quick pretty soon.
Yep. That's all I have.
I have a question for you, John. You said the magic words punch list. What do you know about the CIP project punch list?
Not heard anything from Casper.
Okay, they're over in Virginia by the mall on a second career. They've been over there for half the summer. And they're 8 feet into the hole, so they're in Virginia. So they're going back and forth all the time for what it's worth.
I know.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the way I hear the contractors, they have a hard time finding help.
Yeah.
One of the issues that they've got enough work, a normal workload, but they just don't have
Yeah, that
enough
seems,
people to do the work, so it's an issue, but,
seems to be everywhere is like that.
yeah. So,
Okay. Council have anything? No?
yeah,
Thank you, John. Mr. Jeffries.
Thank you. Okay, the items that I have for this evening, there are a few of them, and again, I'll try to be brief. First of all, I should have done this before, we all should have done, but it's not too dated. Our friends down on the corner of Forest and Highway 169, Cornerstone Villa, have celebrated their 20th anniversary / birthday.
Excellent.
So I apologize for forgetting to mention that at the last meeting, and I think everyone knows what an asset that facility is to the community, and on behalf of the city and the community, congratulations to Cornerstone Villa and happy anniversary / birthday, however you want to phrase that. Yeah, you are very welcome here for sure. Secondly, this is a little dated also, but I just say this because I believe it deserves mentioning. You may or may not have noticed on Sunday that flags were at half-staff, or should have been. And if they were to be flown at half-staff as a gubernatorial directive to honor fallen firefighters. So the September 29th was set for the day to honor firefighters who have fallen or killed or been injured in the line of duties. And there is a national day of recognition called Fallen Firefighters Memorial Day, which is what the flags at half-staff were a part of celebrating. So thank you, as always, to all of our emergency response personnel and firefighters for the critical work that they do, and wanted to mention that day of ceremony for them. Related to firefighters in a way, and for anybody else that might be interested, next Monday in Virginia, at the fire hall in Virginia, Minnesota Power will be having an electric vehicle safety training session for first responders. My assumption here is that all first responders have received some notice of this through their own communication chains, but I've also come to learn that everyone's allowed up to 8 people, and if there is room, no one will get turned away. So this course will be conducted by a third-party firm, but it is one of the largest fire training companies in the state. What it will do is make people aware of the types of electric vehicles, the types of emergency response, which are kind of required to be on your knowledge base for an electric vehicle crash and electric vehicle fire response. What you need to do to shut down or disable an electric vehicle, and then reminding everyone about emergency responder safety and dispelling electric vehicle response myths. So this will be from noon to 4 and from 5 to 9, Monday, October 7th at the Virginia Fire Hall. If anyone is interested, give a call to the fire hall, and you can probably get on that list.
Excellent. That's being put on by Minnesota Power?
Yes, it is. Then it will absolutely be of everybody's interest to remind folks of the candidate forum that will be put on October 14th, starting at what time? 6?
6:30.
6:30, thank you, at the Buhl Senior Center. The group intends on a 2-pronged approach. One, the opportunity for candidates to introduce themselves and give some, information on whatever they might feel like. And secondly, responses to questions that either have been fielded or will be fielded by the organizing group. I don't want to step on any toes of the organizing group. I don't know the specific details of their plans, so I'm not going to pretend to and say anything about that. 6:30, Monday, October 14, meet a candidate meet and greet, or get to know the candidate, or a candidate forum, however you want to refer to it, at the Buhl Kinney Senior Center. Then the last thing I have is just a little bit of a disappointing social comment to make, and that is that it has been noticed by myself and others. There have been a number of political campaign signs that have been defaced or vandalized or stolen in town. And I want everybody to be aware that the Constitution and the First Amendment recognizes free speech, and political signage is a form of that, a recognized form of that. It is allowed to be published or presented as long as it doesn't conflict with any other speech guidelines. So please, leave the signs alone. If you are caught defacing, vandalizing, or removing, you will be prosecuted. Nobody really wants that. That's not the way that these activities should go. But, and again, if you see something, say something. Each of those signs are about $10 a pop for the small ones these days, I think. So there could be a punitive element involved here, but please leave the political campaign signs alone. And that's all that I have.
And if they're in somebody's yard, that's considered private property.
That is correct.
Damage to that is a crime.
But even in public property, at this particular time in the election cycle, they are allowed to be presented.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
On to citizens forum. Anybody wish to speak?
We have two individuals signed up this evening to speak, and the first would be Tanya Teska Erickson.
Hello, Tanya.
Hello.
The floor is yours.
Okay. You might regret saying that, but okay.
Never.
I'm going to read off my phone for right now, just because I don't want to forget anything. Roughly 4 to 5 years ago, the city and the fire department was getting quotes to expand the garage over there. Okay, 3 trucks in a 2-stall garage is not working for us. Hasn't been working for us. After working with architects and getting a quote, the fire department officers decided it was a good move getting the quote, the fire department officers decided it was not a good move at over $600,000 it would cost to do that. The fire department started looking at a combined facility with the city crew and the ambulance service. The funding was looked into. At least 60% of the funding was secured, but now we've heard nothing about it. We have an ambulance hall over there that's full of black mold that nobody's done anything about. We've got our fire hall that we still have 3 rigs in, have all our stuff crammed in there. Can't do a dang thing in there because we have too much stuff in there. All we hear about is, and I'm not against the rec board, not against curling club, not against any of that, but that's all we hear about, is the rec board, the curling club, library. What about us? It's getting real tired. If somebody gets sick from that black mold in that basement, you don't think the city's gonna be sued?
Absolutely.
Oh, hell yes.
And
I'm
if
sorry.
that's a concern,
It is. I mean, we have signs on the door to the basement that says, danger, do not go in. Okay?
I was not aware of that.
Where is that?
In the basement of our fire hall over there, the ambulance garage.
That one, not the fire hall.
No, this one.
Thank you.
Ambulance garage. Yep. Yep. We have our infrastructure here. The city hall is falling apart. The fire hall is crumbling. I mean, we've got bricks everywhere. And then we're running out of space over there. We need to concentrate on our emergency services. And we're not. Nobody seems to give a crap about us. I hate to say it. They don't.
We do.
We can't get people to come apply for the fire department. We're down to members. I want to retire sometime soon, but I can't because we don't have enough members. And if we lose any more members, we're gonna lose our fire department. And if we lose our fire department, our taxes are gonna go through the roof. So we have to concentrate on the stuff that really makes a difference in our town. And we have firefighters over there that are frustrated. We do. And if we lose any more, we're gonna be in trouble. So I don't know what we can do. We have to do something, and we have to do something soon. So, and it's been a known problem with the mold in the basement. Trent knew about it.
I haven't heard anything about it,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah. I mean, if you go over there right now, the basement has danger, do not open.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have standing water in there, that thing floods all the time. So we need to do something, we do. We can't have our EMS in that building 24/7 and not, I mean, they were promised a new building. They were promised that we were gonna have a building like Chisholm has right now. We were promised that, and now we're not getting nothing. Can I ask why?
Why,
Why we aren't even hearing about it? I mean, I hear about the rec board, I hear about
Why you're not hearing about what?
the new building we were supposed to get.
How is that being paid for?
We were going for grants, that's what we had, the grants, that's why, when Ryan was still here, we were working on those grants to get it. And then the new council came in and we got absolutely nowhere after that.
Well, I know we've applied for grants since Mr. Jeffries has been here, so.
Have we
I mean,
applied for the fire department?
Yes, we have.
Yeah, for the fire department specifically.
That's,
We didn't
Mayor
get
Carter,
that
may
one
I-
as
maybe
far
I
as
can
I
help?
know.
I just wanna make a statement, getting funding for, like, the expansion of the fire hall
Yeah.
isn't something they're just tossing.
Oh, I agree that they're not gonna do that, but we
And-
need to prove to them, we have a big problem here, because we
And
can't have our people there.
Myself and Mr. Jeffries have walked those buildings with people like Dave Lizagard,
Okay,
right in town here. And
Okay.
we've stressed how we need to
Yeah.
do these things, and it's not a lack of effort or a lack of nobody wants to do it, or whatever it may be. It's hard,
yeah.
and
We just haven't heard about it, you guys haven't shared that with us, you haven't talked to us about it, we need to know what's going on.
apologies for that.
Yeah.
But, another thing I'd like to encourage, if the fire hall has ideas or sees somewhere where we can chase funding or
Yeah,
anything,
because we
please.
gave up the 600,000 we were gonna put on to that building, because we were gonna have the money to do it, because we can't, I mean, if you saw us back those two rigs and the smaller
know.
rig in there, it is pretty much impossible. We have to have our most skilled people to get them into that building, and then we have no room to walk around, no room to do anything with. And, I mean, we've been pretty patient, but now our patience is kind of.
Well, like I said,
starting to run out.
if there's an idea or anything, come talk to City Hall. I mean, there's nobody here just leaving the fire department out of it. You wanna
I do,
offer some
thanks.
input on that?
Couple of things I would like to offer.
Okay.
First off, I'm catching mixed metaphors here. Like the mayor, I've heard nothing about the ambulance building,
Okay,
and I was not aware Buhl had any EMS people. We contract all the EMS to Essentia Health,
Okay.
and they have indicated no issues at this time.
okay. I work for
Regard-
them. I work over them. That's my full-time job.
But again, we haven't heard anything at all.
Okay.
And so when you say EMS, we're not talking about the city of Buhl. All right,
Oh,
regarding,
it's essential, but yeah, it's our Buhl Fire Hall though. That is our building. That is Buhl Fire's building,
Oh,
no matter what.
Buhl
It's,
holds both properties.
they both, yeah.
But
So
we
it
also
is Buhl Fire's building still. We just let it out for the ambulance. So that's why I'm speaking on it, because it is Buhl Fire's building.
But we did just get a letter
I'm-
from Essentia, what, 3 months ago?
Yeah.
And it didn't mention black mold or anything.
Yeah, Trent's been
whatsoever.
in there, so, I mean, Trent's put all this stuff down there. He said, he's got things over it, don't go down there, because we had stuff down there, it flooded, the stuff didn't get fixed. It's been approached, I don't know, but to who or to when, but it has been spoken to about it, so.
like, to my office and to the offices that I know of, nothing until now.
Okay.
To continue, regarding the fire hall, we had put in for expansion money into the bonding bill last year. There was no bonding bill.
Okay.
It is already on our 2025 list.
Okay,
So those are completely two separate things. At least the way that we've been handling it, I've been handling it, completely separate. If you want to go another way, please let me know that. But right now it's, and then for the EMS building, we also asked for and received partial funding to square off the garage doors so they can fit box fans in there rather than their little smaller units that they have in there now because of the curvature of the top of those doors.
Okay, but that's, pardon my French, that's putting lipstick on a pig, because we're gonna fix the doors, which is gonna cost a lot, because it's a historical building. When we got mold in the basement, we've got buildings kind of crumbling on the outside. It's a 100-year-old building, it is. And it
They all
has
are.
not had any updates in a long time, in a long time. So, I mean, we have to focus on some of our stuff, otherwise we're gonna have crumbling buildings, and then we're gonna be stuck. And I just don't think our city knows what's happening. Not you guys, but the whole city doesn't know what's happening in that ambulance, what's happening with our fire department. And we have to make it known that we need help. We do. Whether we get our legislators, we get anybody that can help us, we do need it. I mean, we can't live like that.
Nope.
We can't.
Well, that,
And I'll gladly bring you over there, because it's
Yeah,
not
and
good.
yeah, and that, we will be addressing that.
Okay.
You take note of that, Mr. Jeffries?
Indeed.
This mold issue.
Yes.
That's the first I've ever heard of
Me
that.
Me too.
Same. Okay,
We will get after that.
all right. That's
Thank
all
you.
I got for you.
And please, if, not so much EMS because that's contracted out, but
Yeah.
fire, if fire hears of anything or any places we can seek out funding for anything, even if it's a $200 grant to help the department, please let us know. If the city's here to do
Yeah, because
that.
Josh and Ted had it, the old chief and the assistant chief had all that stuff. They
Yeah.
had it, they handed it in to Ryan, it should be here somewhere.
Well, I've talked with Pat a couple of times, when we went to seek out this funding that Mr. Jeffries talked about, because we all know that bid at that time was way inflated.
Yeah.
So-
And we could have taken it and did that for a haul, but we decided as a group that we were not gonna do that to the city, because if it would make more sense, because this building's crumbling, the city crews in multiple different buildings, the ambulance fire, why not do something like Chisholm did? A big building
Good.
that would be beneficial. We wouldn't be heating these old buildings. I mean, the utility bill over there has gotta be atrocious.
Did
It does.
Chisholm apply a sales tax in their town?
No.
No? Hibbing did,
Yeah, a lot of people
Correct.
have been, because they need to, yeah.
yeah.
And I mean,
Well, that's how, a lot of these communities fund projects like that. It was Hibbing, sorry, not Chisholm.
yeah. Chisholm got some grants, but then they had to put forth some of their own too, but.
Yeah, and they're really big numbers, and when you look
They
at a town with a budget like Buhl's, those are scary big numbers.
There, yeah.
And,
But you think about it, the building's crumbling, that we're not gonna be having anything.
yeah,
I mean, we have to look at something, because we're not gonna have nothing. And then we're gonna be in big trouble, so. Okay,
thank you.
yep, thank you.
Next
Yes.
we have that's Mr., oh, I'm sorry, Tanya, would you please give us your address?
Sure, 339 Culver Avenue.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Jim Matthews would like to speak.
I'll decline to speak. I forgot you had info on the laundromat on the agenda anyway. I'm sure that'll answer my questions.
Thank you very much.
If not, we'll do our best. Thank you, sir. All right,
That is all the folks who have signed up.
excellent. You got some notes from that.
Yes.
Thank you. That, again, that mold thing is our first, my first hearing of that. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Thank you.
No problem.
Mayor Carter, I have
Yes,
two
sir.
items to mention on the consent agenda.
Please.
First off, item AII would be minutes of the working session in August. You have those in front of you, but there's a good chance you may not have had a chance to review them yet, and you certainly have the option to review before you approve those, okay? Secondly, when we get to the claims under the AP, item 3 or III, the claims list you have in your packet had inadvertently not picked up a $54.80 item to Hometown Focus. When that was uncovered, detected, new reports were run, and the choice was either redoing all of the entire packets, redoing the reports, or whatever, or mentioning that the claims report that you have in front of you has hometown focus for $54.80, which was a charge for some election publishing, not included. Here are the corrected claims reports. So the AP total and thus the entire claims total should increase by $54.80 each. Okay? The amount of work it would have taken to redo everything after I was handed the knowledge and the correction to the claims would not have been, in my opinion, the way to go. So, my math says
51,609.60?
51,609.60.
Okay.
Thank you. So those are the
No,
two
no.
items to the consent agenda.
No actual amendments to claims or changes to claims, it was just the,
That's correct.
that wasn't in the system?
That's correct.
Or didn't make the system?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So, for the consent agenda, we have the minutes from the regular city council meeting, September 17th, 2024. We also have the city council working session, August 8th, 2024. Claims, payroll number 19 in the amount of $14,827.87. Payroll number 9 in the amount of $2,350. Did I mess that up? Where do we put the 54?
That next one.
The next
Okay,
one.
accounts payable.
I don't know if you can read my writing.
This one here, all right, so accounts payable with that change that was caught, $34,431.73 for a total of $51,609.60. Have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve minus the working session minutes, that we have a chance to read them over.
That's fine, I was just looking for a motion and a second and then discussion on
Oh,
it.
sorry.
It's, you can make that motion that way.
Yeah, motion without the working session.
I'll second that.
Excellent. Is that council's will? We will hold the working session minutes so that everybody has an opportunity to review them and then approve them next meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay. Do I have a motion and a second? Anything further? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Thank you. On to business. Item A, consider applying for Minnesota Department of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Public Works Grant for upgrades and improvements to the City of Buhl wastewater conveyance facilities for the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District. Mr. Jeffries, would you like to take this one?
Thank you, Mayor Carter.
Thank you.
The city is a participating member in the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District, CIR-SSD. As such, the city relies and is dependent on the CIR-SSD for the lawful and conforming treatment and discharge of its municipal sanitary sewage delivered to CIR-SSD facilities under the provisions applicable to it as a member of CIR-SSD. The city has been made aware of certain CIR-SSD plans to upgrade and improve its wastewater conveyance facilities, including those which service the city of Buhl. In part, these initiatives include upgrading the city of Buhl's lift station capabilities, which is owned by CIR-SSD, to better manage instantaneous peak wastewater flows, as well as to provide for additional capacity to serve future development needs. Staff has been working with the IRRR, who has suggested it may be more appropriate for the city of Buhl to apply for potential grant funding for these facilities, especially with regard to the portion of the planned upgrades which will directly impact Buhl. Staff concurs insofar as it will not negatively reflect on Buhl in any way that we've been able to determine. So the recommendation from staff is to authorize the administrator to apply for this potential funding. And associated with, okay, that's it, I guess, for this one.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, do we have a motion to authorize the administrator to apply for a Minnesota Department of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Public Works Grant for upgrades and improvements to the City of Buhl wastewater conveyance facilities for the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District?
Motion.
Thank you. I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. I have a question regarding this. So it's been my experience when you apply for grants, a lot of them are matching. If the city is applying for grants, which would be used for the sewer district, if it's a matching situation, how would we work that?
That is a good question that you have, Mayor Carter, one that I have been in conversation with the IRR about.
Okay.
Again, insofar as if the district applies for this part of it, that will get included in a bigger ask, if you will. And with this exclusively benefiting Buhl was the reason for consideration that Buhl would be better to ask for the funding. So at this point, it is the CIRSSD's facilities, not the city of Buhl's. So I would approach this on any matching that would need to come from the district and not from the city.
Like the 1.2 million they have for mineral taxes.
I'm sorry, where are you at?
On the resolution 24-23, it talks about them getting 1.2 million from mineral taxes.
Yeah, well, I can't speak for them, you're on to the kind of the next item, but yeah. There is funding that the CIRSSD has received for fiscal year '24 and for fiscal year '25. That my understanding is that those two come to 1.2 million. What they have earmarked for that, I don't know, it's the district's stuff. However, sounds like a reasonable place to consider maybe match from there with a caveat. Where did that 1.2 come from? It may have come from the IRR. If that is the case, there may not be eligibility to apply money from agency A as a match against money from agency A.
Yes.
But it would go, these conversations will go no further unless you all
Yep.
approve this, and that's fine, if you know. Anyway, but that's what I mean to say is, once approved, then the next step, applying and then to the details. I don't know how that matching part will flush out, but it would not be the intention of this action for the city to be going toward any matching funding.
Thank you. Council.
Can't get it if you don't apply, right?
That's right.
I mean,
I know.
it just doesn't hurt to apply. I
No.
mean, I know the Central Sanitary Sewer District is trying to help you all with this, so,
Yeah, we've been working together.
yeah,
Yeah, so if we could say it that way, they're trying to help us, we're trying to help them.
right.
And we all know that lift station needs to be addressed.
Yes.
All right. Anything further? With nothing more, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries. Thank you, council. All right, item B, consider approving resolution 24-23, authorizing the city of Buhl to make application to and accept funds through the State of Minnesota Department of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Public Works Grant Program. The city is a participating member of the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District, the CIRSSD. The city supports the CIRSSD and its facilities and has approved authorizing the administrator of the city of Buhl to apply for and accept funding from the Minnesota Department of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Public Works Grant Program for improvements and upgrades to its wastewater conveyance facilities. These improvements and upgrades are anticipated to aid and assist the city of Buhl, as well as the CIRSSD, address their present and future wastewater conveyance needs. We have a motion to approve Resolution 24-23 authorizing the city of Buhl to make application to and accept funds through the State of Minnesota Department of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Public Works Grant Program for upgrades and improvements to the city of Buhl / CIRSSD wastewater conveyance systems, and to gratefully acknowledge receipt and thanks should this application prove successful in obtaining needed funding.
All motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Discussion? Sorry I stumbled a little. Long day.
Maybe by way of introduction, you have in front of you now quite a lengthy resolution. The resolution is required as a part of this if it's going to move forward in any way. And I understand it's quite lengthy, but in this instance, I believe it needs to be. Should this resolution be passed, this will be going tomorrow morning to the IRRR, which finalizes the grant application and will allow them to begin their evaluation work.
Excellent. Okay. Council, anything further? All right, with nothing more, being this a resolution, Mr. Jeffries.
I think it's appropriate if the resolution is read.
Ah. Thank you, sir. And apologies for not doing that. A resolution authorizing the city of Buhl to apply for and accept funding from the Minnesota Department of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Public Works Grant Program for improvements and upgrades to its wastewater conveyance facilities. Whereas the city of Buhl is a statutory city, organized and operating under the laws of the state of Minnesota, and whereas the city of Buhl relies and is dependent on the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District for the lawful and conforming treatment and discharge of its municipal sanitary sewage delivered to CIRSSD facilities under provisions applicable to it as a member of the CIRSSD. And whereas current instantaneous and peak flows delivered to the CIRSSD facility requires improvements and upgrades to the conveyance system delivering these materials in order to conformingly accommodate these flows, as well as future wastewater treatment demands. And whereas the CIRSSD applied for and was granted reissuance of a national pollutant discharge elimination system, state disposal system, permit number MN0020117, with an issuance date of February 14th, 2022, and an expiration date of January 31st, 2027. And whereas the CIRSSD is undertaking design and construction of wastewater conveyance systems, improvements and upgrades along the US Highway 169 corridor in order to accommodate current instantaneous peak flows as well as to provide for future wastewater demand from Buhl and its wastewater contributors, thereby providing sufficient capacity for planned and anticipated residential, commercial, and light industrial development. And whereas the CIRSSD has been awarded a grant funding by the 93rd Minnesota Legislature, House File number 5247, administered through the IRRR for infrastructure projects in the amount of $850,000 in 2024 and $350,000 in 2025 from mineral taxes. And whereas the CIRSSD has determined that additional funding is required to complete necessary upgrades and improvements to the Buhl conveyance system to accommodate instantaneous peak wastewater flows to avoid the potential of sewer system overflows and backups, as well as provide additional capacity for future development along the US Highway 169 corridor. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Buhl, Minnesota, that the City of Buhl hereby applies to the IRRR for funding through its Public Works Grant Program to design, construct, and equip said improvements and upgrades to its wastewater conveyance facilities for which it has legal authority to apply for and accept funding, and the financial, technical, and managerial capacity to ensure proper construction, operation, and maintenance of the project for its design life. Mr. Jeffries, being this is a resolution, will you please take the roll?
Counselor Hadrava is absent. Counselor Keeley,
Yes.
Counselor Loeffler,
Yes.
Counselor Towner,
Yes.
Mayor Carter.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 and so prevails. Thank you.
Thank you for a wonderful resolution. More coffee. All right, moving on. Item C. Consider undertaking sanitary sewer smoke testing activity as a portion of the City of Buhl inflow and infiltration mitigation study initiatives. The city has been diligently working on the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District. Sorry. The city has been diligently working with the CIRSD, the city's wastewater treatment facility operator, to address the impacts the City of Buhl has or may have on this facility. Earlier in 2024, Norm Miranda, the Executive Director of the district, addressed the City Council and presented pertinent information regarding these impacts, with a focus towards inflow and infiltration impacts that the district has been noticing from Buhl's participation in this facility, both pre and post infrastructure improvement. These items are extremely important and worthy of further study, as we all know. A major integral element of these studies has been identified as conducting smoke testing of sanitary and select storm sewers in the city to evaluate the overall condition of these wastewater collection systems. Autumn is a choice time to conduct these activities as the ground is typically drier than earlier times of the year. The Minnesota Rural Water Association, of which Buhl is a member, offers technical assistance with many wastewater issues, including smoke testing studies. Minnesota Rural Water Association staff had indicated their ability of equipment and personal technical assistance to assist in carrying out these studies for the week beginning of October 21st, 2024. Staff believes this opportunity should be undertaken at this time. We have a motion to authorize the citywide smoke testing activities on the wastewater collection system
All motion.
with the grateful assistance of the Minnesota Rural Water Association. Thank you. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Council, anything further on this?
Nope, we've just been waiting for this.
Yeah,
It's nothing new.
and it is dry out.
It is.
Now is the time.
Now's the time.
And I have a further request.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Taking advantage of when rural water is available, I think is absolutely necessary, okay? We, from our public works side of the coin, are starting to prepare for winter. So staff availability, I'm uncertain as to their availability. So I'm curious whether or not council would allow me to potentially solicit a number of street walkers to walk up, when we're doing this, walk up and down the street. That's what you do, is you put smoke in and then you look for where it's coming out. And the better you have people looking at that and recording what you see, where you see it, the better it is. In case we need more manpower, I'm hoping the council may give me the authority to bring a few folks on board for a couple of days to do this. So I'd like that for consideration also.
I like the idea, as long as we don't use the phrase solicit streetwalkers anymore.
Yeah.
I could say I tried to catch you on that, but I really didn't.
I would assume most people in town would be happy to help. So,
Probably, and doesn't some of this possibly come up in people's homes too, if there's issues? So should you not be alarming them that this could happen?
Oh, we should definitely try to alert
Yeah.
as many folks as possible. Yes, and it's actually valuable for those homeowners too. If nothing's wrong with your house, or your home, your structure, or whatever, your building, you should not see any impacts. It should be coming in your sewer and going out your sewer vent.
Vents.
That's almost exclusively on the roof of your house. If smoke comes inside, you have a problem. You've got a breach in a pipe somewhere. That'll tell you you do, although it'll be smoky for a little while. The smoke, it's a minor irritant, but it is a healthy smoke if there's such a thing. So, yeah, good question, Counselor Keeley, yes. People should know.
Can I say something? Is that okay? I know when they did this in Chisholm, they did not alert all the people in Chisholm.
They did.
So they got,
They did.
But they had overabundance of phone calls.
We did.
About it, saying that they're getting smoke and a thing into their houses, whatever. So they had to calm them down a little bit. So it would be good to actually get stuff out there so people know what they're looking for and what it is.
We would ideally still want them to call though.
Yeah.
Maybe not,
Oh, yeah. No,
not 911, but City Hall.
I agree, yeah, that, but I mean, let them know that
So
that's
they don't
happening,
panic.
so we're not overwhelming the fire department like Chisholm happened to have. And we're going to people's houses for this issue because we just don't have it.
So the way that it's designed at the present, first of all, with regard to extra help, I've broached with a number of engineer colleagues of mine who have indicated a willingness to come and spend 2 days walking. Just so you know, just didn't want to end up short of people. But, oh, I've lost my train of thought. How often does that happen? Too often. I'll get it back if I may. It
Okay.
came after comment.
Notification of the public?
We ended up sending them in our utility bill. That's why people probably didn't think that they got anything, because they don't read their things in their utility bill. So they did get them in, everybody got one in Chisholm.
Okay.
So, and it went in our utility bill, so.
And we did not have that opportunity because of the timing of rural water and this and when they're available and the end of the month and the turn of the utility bills. That would have been great, but we did not get that opportunity. Hopefully, oh, I remember, hopefully we've been talking about it enough, that word on the street will get people, or that it's not new news to people, but the details are gonna be new news. And we should use every available method to get that
Yeah,
out
I
there.
mean, we've got that, All Things Buhl on
Yeah,
Facebook, that's one way.
Right.
There's our Facebook page, not everybody's on a computer, but you can post it in the post office, senior center, they have them have coffee with them,
Right.
yeah.
So where the design of the project is right now is I've been working a little bit with Engineer Jamnik here. Preliminarily, we identified 18 locations in town. 18, for lack of a better word, manholes. And they would start down in the southwestern corner of town and move this way. Planned on 9 per day for 2 days. That'd be a Monday and Tuesday, October 21st and 22nd. If we needed more time than that, the 23rd is not a good day. I can't remember there's a reason we can't do it on the 23rd. So I think we have something going on. I'm sorry, I don't have it on the top of my head. We would then propose to do it on that Thursday, the 24th, the third day. But, so 18 structures, 9 a day, until they're done. No change in any cost estimates. Mineral Water is providing their services as gratis as part of our membership with them. And I think we will need to buy fuel, probably no more than 5 gallons. Smoke, probably no more than 10 gallons. I don't know, I'm thinking that's gonna come in for definitely under $500 at this point.
Excellent. Well, hopefully something comes of it. It's pretty obvious, all of our discussions we've had over this issue, that there has to be, in my mind, a pretty obvious, like a cross connection or something, I don't know. There has to be something obvious. The data that spikes in the flow in that thing, it has to be.
And this is kind of like the structural analysis that we took on the water tower framework.
Mm.
This will tell us something so we can put some discussions to bed.
Yeah. And plan a path forward too.
Right.
Excellent, good. So, we have a motion to authorize citywide smoke testing activities on the wastewater collection system with the grateful assistance of the Minnesota Rural Water Association. Do we have to add to that motion your other request?
Not if you guys are okay with me just doing that.
Council?
I guess I don't know.
I'd like to offer my help too, but I don't know where I'm gonna be that day.
I mean, I guess, I certainly haven't said anybody would be compensated for this, but I don't know what people expect. They may expect to at least not have to take mileage and fuel and whatever out of their own, but I am not coming here asking for any compensation at this time. Just don't want to get caught with not enough people.
Yeah, agreed. Well, as long as there's not a dollar bill on it, I don't see a problem.
Me either.
Council? Excellent. All right. That being ironed out, we have a motion on the table. And a second. Anything further, council? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. So October 21st.
You know, I'm back on that one, not to go back, but your city people will be your eyes too, you hope.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're gonna be bigger than your walkers, so.
Can't stress enough how important that will be. But it would be very, very, very good to get objective feedback back, you know? And again, everybody's gonna see smoke, there's no doubt about it.
Just hopefully not in their house.
Yeah, if you find that smoke coming in your house, you definitely have an issue. And it's not a fire, so don't call the fire department.
Wow.
Well, it could be. Mr. Jeffries, is there a specific color to that smoke?
It is white.
It is white.
And so if they do see it, what's your recommendation to the people that see it in their house?
Note, time, and where. If, for instance, if there's a line of pipe that's injured, that's damaged in more than like a hole, one area, you'll see that all the way down the line. It'll be a trail of smoke, not just coming up out of one place. So the more detailed folks can be, the better the information will be.
Where the smoke is coming from.
Yes.
Out of. That
Out
sort
of.
of thing.
Yeah, and everybody will be seeing it coming out of their main stack vent on their home or whatever building may be hooked up to the system. Workshop, garage, sauna, workout room, whatever they may have. If they've got a plumbing stack in it, smoke will be coming out of it.
Excellent. Hopefully we can get some answers out of that. That'd be wonderful. All right.
How do we phrase alerting people, if you see smoke and you don't think it's fire, alert City Hall? Like,
I don't know. Obviously, we're gonna put together something for website, senior center, city hall, post office, correct?
Correct.
And then we can share that to Facebook and further.
Correct.
And I'm sorry, what day was this gonna be on?
October 21st and 22nd, possibly also the 24th.
Okay, I'll let the fire department know, so then if we do get all the calls,
But if they want to come and participate, they're certainly willing and welcome. I understand how
I
it
was gonna
goes.
say they're all full-time jobs
Yeah,
everywhere else.
Get it, I get it.
That would be good, but yeah.
All right. Anything further? Moving on. Item D. Consider approving resolution 24-24 to appoint a City of Buhl representative to the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District. Board of Directors for a 3-year term beginning on January 1st, 2025. The city is a participating member in the Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District. As such, the city is currently entitled to representation on the board with 2 representatives. A current board member term expires on December 31, 2024, and at such time a vacancy will be created, which the city will be entitled, if not expected, to fill. It has been the city council's practice for transparency to notify the public with regard to vacancies or upcoming vacancies on commissions, boards, committees, and similar bodies, and to receive solicitations from interested parties and/or individuals prior to filling a vacancy. The public is hereby notified of this vacancy. Anyone interested in serving in this capacity for a 3-year term should contact City Hall before
December 6th.
December 6, 2024 for potential consideration. It should be noted that the city has received an expression of interest in this vacancy by one interested party at this time. So, we're giving public notice. Motion to fill an upcoming vacancy on the CIRSSD board prior to January 1st, 2025, and to provide notice to the public regarding the same.
No motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. So we do have one interested individual for this position, correct? At
Correct,
this time?
correct.
And anybody else interested? It's a 3-year term, which starts the first of the year.
Correct.
Please come to City Hall. Excellent. Well, it's good to see we have interest in it. That's one of the places we definitely need representation and eyes and ears. Okay, anything further, council? Mr. Jeffries, being this is a resolution, will you please take the roll?
Counselor Hadrava is absent. Counselor Keeley?
Yes.
Counselor Loeffler?
Yes.
Counselor Towner?
Yes.
Mayor Carter?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 and so prevails. Thank you. This will be noted at all of our normal places on the bulletin boards.
Excellent, thank you. All right, moving on to item E. Consider approval of JPJ partial pay estimate for number 4 for construction services for the Damien Addition Phase 3 project in the amount of $197,441.34 to 2EZ Incorporated. Is that the correct name for that company?
Yep. DBA.
DBA, Joel and Sop Excavating Incorporated. The city has received a partial payment estimate for construction services performed by 2EZ Inc., DBA, Joel and Sop Excavating, related to the Damien Addition Phase 3 project, JPJ Project 22-059. This partial payment estimate is related to services rendered for the period of estimate from October 30th, 2023 through August 23rd, 2024, and includes services related to the base bid, Franklin/Burnett, as well as the ad alternate Seville Jefferson Woodbridge construction activities. Specifically, these charges are identified in the amount this period columns contained on pay estimate number 4 attached to this memorandum. Similarly, on the base bid, the work is for installing curb and gutter and paving of roadways in the Damien 3 addition. On the ad alternate, it is for similar activities and required preparation work on Woodbridge Avenue and Clinks Way. John's with us for any questions. We have a motion to approve payment of partial payment estimate number 4 for project number 22-059 to 2EZ Inc., DBA Joel and Sop Excavating in the amount of $197,441.34.
I'll motion.
Thank you. We have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion? Questions? John's with us tonight.
So what's left to do after this is the storm drain, inlet protect, and then seeding, temporary mulch,
Yeah, see the final grading behind curves and those type of things, yeah.
final grade.
Seeding, yeah, that's the majority of it, the seeding.
Storm drain inlet protection probably won't show up now, it's too far down the line in the construction project. But it may become a bill item, yes.
Well, I see, it's on here, just, we haven't, it's not been added yet. so-
Right.
So roughly $30,000 plus what we're holding for retainer,
Correct.
and then we're done.
Maybe. Punch list, it's always a punch list.
Yeah, the page, just keep in mind, we are still holding 5% retainage, which equals the $24,500 that's on the first page of the pay estimate, so.
Yeah, but we'll also still be looking at when they do finish doing the
Yeah.
seeding and everything.
We'll do a final
That
punch
comes up.
list and carry that over till next year, but it's getting these done, yep.
All right, anything further, council? All right, with nothing more, those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. All right, moving on to item F, consider approving JPJ Engineering invoice 22 dash. Sorry, can I stop for a second?
Yeah, can I stop for a second?
Yeah, I have a question. What is, go ahead, you first.
The item you have in front of you now
Oh,
has been, and it's noted that it had been moved up last meeting, and it was acted on last meeting. So this specific item needs no action. It was initially on this agenda, but again, like I say, got moved up. Instead, what should happen in this item is to consider approving the invoice coming your way from JPJ for professional engineering services for plat work at Buhl Business Block in the amount of $2,000. So please substitute this for what you have. Same thing, approval of a JPJ invoice. The amount here is $2,000, and the reason is that this didn't get moved off the agenda, even though it got moved up last time and approved. Mayor Carter, does that kind of address what you were gonna ask?
No, I had a totally separate question.
Okay,
We'll get to that after,
thank you.
after this. Okay, so, for item E, consider approving JPJ Engineering invoice 23-207. Number 2, for the Buhl Business Block Professional Engineering Services in the amount of $2,000. The city has been invoiced for professional engineering services and other professional activities performed by JPJ Engineering Incorporated for services related to the Buhl Business Block redevelopment project. This invoice is related to services rendered for the invoice period of July 2024 and includes services related to the above referenced project. Specifically, these charges are identified as professional engineering services rendered under plat. Do we have a motion to approve payment of invoice number 2 for project number 23-207 to JPJ Engineering Incorporated in the amount of $2,000?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Discussion?
So particularly, what is this? This is for the business block,
Was South Industrial Park
okay?
previously. Beta readjusted the plot, changing to allow more highway frontage. So,
Yeah, the plat, the actual shape of the lots were changed. And these, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Jeffries,
Yes.
these are the charges for drawing of that plat.
Partial construction of the plat. Right now, we're in a status of a preliminary plat only. Once that receives acceptance by BETA, it would be moving toward final plat work. I expect additional charges at that
At
time.
that time.
So if you guys in Beta decides to change it again, we're gonna have this invoice again?
I would suspect that depending upon the decision of how much to change, if there is redrafting which is required, I would expect a cost associated with that redrafting. I would also expect it would be probably at this point a kind of a time and material based charge for how long it would take to change it from what it is now to what it may become if Beta wants it changed.
Is it a past practice that Beta ever comes and reports at these meetings? Because we really haven't really heard anything that's going on in the Beta meetings, so.
I like that idea. We should.
I mean, we literally don't know what's going on in your Beta meetings.
So what had happened in this instance, Councilor Keeley, is when Beta made an action a year ago, I think it was November, to move forward with the redevelopment of this, it came to the council at that point, and it was approved, and we went on with it. During this year, when we received the preliminary plat, when that was distributed to Beta out of courtesy, the comment came up as to potentially changing what's there. That's all that's happened so far. Now it's coming to you here. Nothing else had happened with that yet, and I'll just say that didn't seem to be enough activity to specifically report out to council.
Right, but again, I don't think we've had one report from Beta really.
No, I don't think you have.
We haven't.
Right.
So I guess I would like to see that, to know what you guys are talking about in these meetings, and
Do you want just like a recap of the
Maybe.
meeting, or like just the meeting minutes like we get from the
I don't know if we
library
need the meeting
reports?
minutes. I mean, unless you want to provide the minutes like the library, and then maybe just go over it like just like a department in the beginning of the meeting. Because,
What about like the first meeting, because Beta's the last Thursday of the month. What if the first meeting of the month, like this one, we have a representative from Beta just give a verbal,
yeah,
you know, this is what happened.
because there's
at our
three
meeting.
of you that go to the meeting, so, I mean, and one of you could probably give it.
Yeah.
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 I think Mr. Jeffries covered everything. I mean, we had a little discussion on the cameras we have that are in disrepair, you know, stuff like that, that's,
Well, the other major change this year was the rewriting the contracts for Whiteside Industrial Park, getting those up to date.
lease agreements with tenants.
That's right.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I like that idea of some sort of update. I mean, at the very least, the minutes, I mean, like from every department. I think we've talked about that before with like the rec board, for instance. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll introduce that.
Yeah, okay. Put that under, can we do that under reports from department heads?
Yes.
Excellent, that'd be a good place for it.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I know a lot of people,
Well, I just think that there's more than you guys that want to know what's going on over there and where we are, and
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna, and I get, we have to pay you, John, for this, but I'm wondering, you know, how much you guys changing, what are you changing?
Right.
yeah,
So,
well, and even just a simple, hey, we talked about cameras, yada, 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 whatever the topics were. I have a lot of people in the public ask me what Beta even is.
right,
And this would be a great way to present information on it.
And we're gonna be getting the final plat, right, of because you said that Beta got the partial, whatever, but.
Well, that's up in the air at the moment, as to whether or not Beta's gonna decide to change it, to tell you the truth.
And that's,
is that like a major issue to change it? I mean, are you guys like nowhere close, or?
so we looked at it for almost a year.
Okay,
And then last minute when it's,
We
On the
didn't
table to
approve it,
approve.
so it's still yet to be
yeah,
approved.
Okay.
it's not, the final plat's not approved yet. I think it'll get there.
I hope so.
I hope so too. But, until then,
Okay.
we have a motion and a second, correct?
Yes.
Alright, anything further? With nothing more, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Just wanted to touch,
Oh, yeah, good question.
it's not, I don't know if it's that relevant, but, what is with the name on this construction company? Too Easy
That's-
Incorporated.
That's their name.
That's their name?
That's their registered business name.
Okay. That is not related? I mean, are Joel and Sop, is that part of that company, or
No.
how is that structured? That's
Too
totally separate?
Easy is Joel and Sub.
Okay,
Corporately, they're Too Easy Inc.
okay, so that's their,
Yeah, DBA Joel and Sub. That's likely to change. I expected it to change by now, but I'm sure it'll change. I expect it'll change by, well, let's say next construction season. I think it'll change to Ziggy's Mainline Excavating
okay.
Inc.
I'm just curious, because I heard a lot of talk about name changes there and stuff, I just figured to
Yeah.
ask.
No, one entity, same company.
Okay.
same folks.
Alright, thank you, sir. Alright. Moving on to item G. Consider a letter of support for Iron Range Brownfields Program EPA fiscal year 25 Brownfield Community Wide Assessment Grant Application. The city recently received a request to support an Iron Range Brownfields application for an EPA fiscal year 25 Brownsfield Community Wide Assessment Grant. Brownsfields are abandoned, idle, or underused industrial and commercial properties where financing expansion or redevelopment is complicated by actual or suspected environmental contamination as a result of past uses. Iron Range Brownfields is comprised of the cities Aurora, Babbitt, Biwabit, Buhl, Chisholm, Cook, Ely, Evelyn, Gilbert, White Lakes, and Virginia. The city of Virginia will submit the application on behalf of these communities, and if awarded funding, will be utilized for assessment, investigation, and planning for brownfield properties within the geographical area of these cities. A draft letter of support is included. We have a motion for the city of Buhl to participate as a member of the Iron Range Brownfields Program and to offer a letter of support to the city of Virginia regarding application for a community-wide assessment grant to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency for fiscal year 25 assessment funding.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Mr. Jeffries, do you have anything to add to this?
I will just say that I have not personally identified any large brownfield areas in Buhl at the moment that are in need of investigation because we have plans for the land. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get at with that is, when there's plans or a project in kind of envisioned for a property that has had some contamination in the past, this might be where we could go to grab some funding for it if the regional grant is awarded.
Yeah. Another thing to point out is that even if the funding may not come here, if it doesn't help our community out, if we can help the rest of the
Yes.
area out, that's a big deal. I mean, everybody's neighbors here.
This is an every year thing anyway, isn't it?
This is, actually, I think it might be a 2-year item, and I don't think they got awarded last year,
We did approve the letter last year.
but it didn't get awarded, that's why they're again, I'm not certain if it's a 2-year funding cycle
Okay.
or a 1. But they didn't get it last year, was my understanding, that's why we're in this year.
Nobody got it last year?
It's just one grant.
One grant. Who got it? Do you
No,
know?
no, no, the Iron Range Brownfields
Yeah.
did not get awarded last year.
Okay, okay. Because I was just gonna ask, what would they have used it for though?
Right, that is a good question, I can only speculate here. Certainly, there are likely many larger cities with more land that had been used in the past that may or may not have had some environmental concern that might be up for redevelopment.
I could be wrong, and I'm sorry,
Good.
but I think if you go to the City of Virginia's website, I think they have a link to the brownfields.
Okay.
And I believe they had listed some of the areas they had in mind
Yes.
last year when we looked at this.
You are correct, Counselor Towner, right.
When you give this, do you give ideas of what might be in this area? Like, is there anything like in our industrial park that would be considered in this? Or is there any buried tanks at old gas stations possibly that would, I mean, just asking.
At this time, Counselor Keeley, Buhl seems to be pretty clean, in my estimation. The MPCA, Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, carries a database of sites where they've either noted concern, taken action, or have some information, such as, there's underground tanks over here, because you have to register those. So, when I last looked at Buhl, I believe possibly part of the old wastewater treatment plant just had been identified, and I think part of a reason for that very well could have been, there might have been some sludge that needed disposal from that operation at that time, that's why it's on the list. And then a handful of underground tanks that were in town at one point, the old shortstop, for instance, I think is on there, what they call UST, Underground Storage Tank Database, things like that. Other than that, I don't think anything out at the industrial park, from what I know, that was never land that was industrial used ever. It was mining land, that got cleared out, but I don't think any real industrial activity occurred on it. So, no known contaminated sites in my mind to date.
All right, anything further, council? With nothing more, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
All right, moving on to item H, update on building demolition plans and activities for 206 State Street. Mr. Jeffries, you want to take this one?
I will, Mayor Carter, thank you. The former laundromat building located at 206 State Street has been the topic of demolition for some time. This building was announced for demolition by its owners, Buhl Apartments LLC and managing agent Zenith Property Management LLC, in mid-2023 or earlier. Permitting and registration initiatives are undertaken and pursued by the owner's contractor, and by late August 2024, all impediments were overcome, and the green light was issued by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency to allow demolition activities to begin, and I kind of reported on that a few times. This work was to have commenced on Monday, August 26, 2024, then September 9th, then September 23rd, and as of today, no demolition activities have been observed to have begun. I have very recently been informed by the owner's contractor that the owner has now rescinded and canceled the contract for demolition for financial considerations and released the contractor from any further activities. So at this time, it appears that there are no further or future plans by the owners to undertake building demolition.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council.
So where do we go with the city? Is this where we jump in with our lawyer immediately and get going on a letter to them?
I feel it would be incumbent to say that short of, no matter what the content of that may or may not be, there would be, at least in the interim, costs borne by the city for that activity.
Was there something like asbestos found in that building?
There
Or
was.
that known? Is that probably why the cost went and he couldn't do it, or possibly?
Possibly. I believe the number I heard, don't quote me on it, because I have not really received it, may have been somewhere in the area of $70,000.
For demolition of that building.
Correct. And restoration of that site to clean final grade.
So what's his plan? Has he talked to you he hasn't.
I've heard this from the MPCA and the contractor, not from the building owners.
We've talked about it with a couple of the other problem areas, but would this property, with what we were under the impression they were intending to do with it once it was demolished, would that qualify for the IRRBs?
Redevelopment,
Yeah,
possibly.
and could we at least start by contacting Zenith or whoever to let them know we would support them in an application for that? You know, even if it's just,
Very reasonable, very reasonable.
Was there a deadline for the application? I felt like there
I
was.
think there's a yearly one, or is it twice a year?
With the commercial ones, with commercial properties, I'm not so sure there really is a time limit, a time built into that. Residential, yes, twice a year, if not once a year, depending upon the size of your city, I believe. So, I guess that's very reasonable. At this point, I guess I would ask the question, who is more appropriate to deal with, if the managing agent or the owner? To date, it's
my
always
question.
been the managing agent.
That was my question. Who actually owns that parcel? I tried to look it up, but it doesn't work.
I
No.
don't recall the name of their group offhand.
Okay.
Yeah, well, do I have it here, don't I? Did I put it in there? Yeah, Buhl Apartments LLC is what they're registered as. I have not looked into the corporate structure of who the principal is
Well, I was
in
just
Buhl
curious,
Apartments
on
LLC.
the tax rolls, who the owner of that was.
Yeah, Buhl Apartments LLC.
Okay.
So we would just address Buhl Apartments LLC or to whom it may concern. Leave it at that.
So,
I do know it came as a surprise to the contractor.
well, that's a big number all of a sudden. Is there a way to, obviously that's a public safety issue, probably more than,
Anything.
well, there's other ones that we've been dealing with, but is there a way to expedite that, hurry that up in any way?
Yeah, there would be, my complete initial reaction would be, should that be the case, the city should be prepared with absorbing those costs, at least in the
For
short
the time
term.
being? P.O. Box, Duluth, Minnesota.
Zenith Property Management, yeah.
Yeah, that's the managing agent.
But it doesn't say
That's not the
just
owner.
the taxpayer. Yeah, the owner name is Buhl Apartments LLC, taxpayer is Zenith Property.
Well, like Mr. Jeffrey said, if it's to the point where it's a public safety issue and it needs to come down, the city has the ability of absorbing that cost. Or can go the route of trying to secure funding or work with some sort of program that can help with that.
If I may, Mayor Carter,
Yes.
if the city were to approach funding,
Mhm.
then I believe it should be the city that has redevelopment plans and not a private owner.
For ultimately what comes of the parcel?
Right.
Agreed.
One of the biggest criterion for eligibility is that property will be developed for other use.
And correct me if I'm wrong, the lot immediately to the north of that is city owned already.
EDA held, corner lot EDA held.
Okay. Oh, lots of thoughts to consider. We definitely need to revisit that sooner than later.
I will start conversations with my funding contacts.
Okay. Eyes and ears. Report back next meeting.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Council, anything further?
Disappointment.
Big disappointment. That's a big number though. And I mean, I understand. Small business. I mean, you get the EPA involved and that's big dollar stuff where all you have to do is find a piece of asbestos and it shuts down the whole idea.
So to give full disclosure to everybody, we knew that for a while. that's some of the permitting that was undertaken was for registering the contractor as an asbestos abatement contractor. The determination was made to treat everything in there as asbestos laden, because that probably is way easier than picking and sorting through things to say, no asbestos, 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 no asbestos. I'm just pointing for effect. But the whole contents would be treated as such. I think they knew this quite a while ago. I don't know how recent the number may have cropped up.
Gotcha. In your professional opinion, being that property was already permitted through the EPA to be demolished, if it was council's will and the city's will to eliminate that public safety issue, would that permitting carry over?
I believe it would.
Okay.
And right now, the restriction would be you'd have to treat it as a completely asbestos-laden
Yeah.
structure. But whoever the contractor is that would be handling it, they themselves would have to carry an asbestos abatement registration. But I believe it's more incumbent on the contractor carrying through the structures, the buildings specifics, I believe will be covered under that permitting, because that's what we did in the first place. We rendered the building untenably habitable to the MPCA, who agreed. So that should carry to whoever takes on the
Excellent.
cash.
One hurdle to get over.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have to find housing for the pigeons. What are they gonna,
They'll move down the block.
Go put out a picture notice on the door right now.
I'll get my BB gun out.
Okay, anything further on this?
that's something we
I have
need to
one
jump
further thing
on.
on that, if I may. Mr. Matthews was gonna speak on this. Mr. Matthews, does that address?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
It's such a-
All right. Ball's back in our court. Moving on. Item I. Schedule working sessions for 2025 budget initiatives. The preliminary city budget for fiscal year 25 was introduced at the September 26, 2024 City Council special meeting. A dedicated fiscal year 2025 budget working session was held on September 26, 2024 by the City Council, with substantial headway made in reviewing and evaluating the proposed 2025 budget. The final budget and associated tax levy will need to be prepared and completed by the end of December 2024. Staff believes additional dedicated time for further evaluation and review is warranted in order to achieve a workable fiscal year 2025 budget that is acceptable to the City Council. As such, staff proposes the following dates for additional dedicated fiscal year 25 budget working sessions at 6:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers in City Hall. Thursday, October 14th.
17th.
17th?
17th.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Okay.
Because the 14th isn't a Thursday, correct?
Correct.
Get the calendar over here. So 6:30 p.m. in City Council chambers in City Hall, Thursday, October 17th, 2024. Thursday, October 31st, 2024. Thursday, December 12th, 2024, if needed.
November 20th,
November 20th, you forgot.
which is a
Did I miss
Wednesday.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah, just the.
I swear it hit November 20th. Alright. To recap, 6:30 p.m. City Council Chambers, City Hall, Thursday, October 17th, Thursday, October 31st, Wednesday, November 20th, Thursday, December 12th. I get it right that time?
you did.
Excellent.
So there was question on the last meeting with the 31st of October, and I know it was brought up, again, I heard it. It doesn't bother me, but I know that there's some with young kids, so I think that they should be changed. So the parents can be with their kids that night.
Yeah, October 31st is Halloween. Council have a recommendation to change that one?
I would like a change.
Sorry, what?
I said I would like it changed.
Yeah, I think we all, that's a big day.
I mean, just jumping back one day, Wednesday the 30th, does that
That works for me.
help?
Mr. Jeffries, how's your schedule?
Looks like it's gonna accommodate that.
Wednesday. Where are we at here? So. Wednesday the 30th, 2024. This is this one, so we have. Okay. 6:30 PM in City Council chambers at City Hall, Thursday, October 17th. Wednesday, October 30th. Wednesday, November 20th. Thursday, December 12th. Council satisfied? Alright, do we have a motion to schedule dedicated fiscal year 2025 budget working sessions at 6:30 in the council chambers at City Hall on October 17th, October 31st.
30th.
Alright. Motion to schedule dedicated fiscal year 25 budget working sessions at 6:30 PM in council chambers at City Hall on October 17th, October 30th, November 20th, and December 12th, 2024.
A motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Alright.
Could you read those again?
I got too many notes to even read it. I think we got it though. Yep. Work that in your schedule.
Make a motion.
We have a motion and a second?
Motion second.
Motion second.
I don't think, I mean, obviously, we'll probably use up every one of these meetings for time, but there's not, I don't know. That budget's, there's not too much, it's always cut and dry. Small municipalities don't get to put in the pork, big government does, so it's just a matter of what's priority and where we go with it. All right, we have a motion and a second, anything further? With nothing more, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Thursday, October 17th, Wednesday, October 30th, Wednesday, November 20th, Thursday, December 12th,
I think we should change those.
6:30 PM. Council chambers.
Please.
It'll be on the agenda the next meeting.
All right. Moving on, other business. We have an item here, Mr. Jeffries. Or not an item, a topic.
Mayor Carter, we received everything, almost, pretty near everything we need to move forward with water tower public sessions. And I believe
Excellent.
it's incumbent to start scheduling those.
Back to the calendar. October 17th, October 24th, October 30th.
Maybe one on the 31st of October?
Not on the 31st of October. We could all wear costumes. Obviously sooner the better, but with enough time to,
Do we want to do one during the day and one in the evening, maybe? You know, with like working schedules. That might help.
Pump informational meetings, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I would assume an evening. That way, hopefully, and everybody who wishes to attend,
Get more people in.
yeah. And we should have enough time between now and then for people to plan for it. It's like, we don't want to do it Friday of this week or something, right? Denise,
I don't care. I mean,
Renee,
like,
both of you are way better at planning.
yeah, that's true. Do you wanna, how much planning time are you gonna need to get everything together, approximately? And plus, we have to get this notice out to everybody.
Counselor Keeley, would like the council to have some input on what the whole scope and the way it's gonna get set up is. So I really don't know until we talk about that a bit. I guess I would suggest the first meeting be a comprehensive introduction, for sure. And I believe we have pretty much everything for that. We've presented that in the past, and we could just summarize it in again. But we may have, by that time, I'm hoping we may have some additional numbers to work with, at least point us in some direction. So I would say could probably have that together in a week or less.
So are we talking back-to-back weeks then, probably? Maybe back-to-back Mondays?
If that works for you, if that works, we could certainly do that.
Well, because right now we have the 21st and the 28th open
Okay.
of October. Right now.
It's gonna be a busy month.
Yes, it is, but if you go into November, then you're messing with the election week and that's out. And the following Monday is Veterans Day, so I don't think we wanna do anything on that day. And then you're getting very close to Thanksgiving, so,
I will be out of pocket myself for a period of November.
okay, so then let's look at
Monday,
the
October
21st.
21st.
The 21st and the 28th.
Got it.
And that won't, it being that late into October, it won't mess with the RFPs going out, they'll still go out on time?
They'll go out when we have the chance to get them prepared. Yeah. I'm sorry to put it that way, but we can't have the RFP date draw everything backwards on.
Well, I'm wondering if it needs to push it up, but if that gives enough time, like have it sooner, but as long as that should work, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, I intend to engage Mr. Jamnik to assist in that. John, if the first meeting's on the 21st and the second meeting's on the 28th, is that still gonna give us enough time to prepare the bidding documents or the RFP or whatever form we're gonna have that go out in?
Yeah, I mean, you know, going to bid, we still gotta get final approval with the Department of Health on the plan, so, you know, that's about a 3 week to a month process, so. What day of the week is the 21st? I don't.
Monday.
They're both Mondays.
The 2 Mondays in the end of October, yeah. Or, end of October.
Okay, and I don't wanna go into it now, but maybe we can visit on what you just said about Department of Health approval for plans, because we don't have any with us yet, right? Yeah.
I mean, are we cutting it too close with these dates for you?
No,
No, okay,
no, we gotta move this, I think.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I would though, ask that this be a motion, an
Yeah.
action for this.
Well, we have 2 dates.
Yeah.
Time,
6:30 like usual,
6:30,
or,
Bit earlier maybe?
How about 6?
okay.
6 PM.
Where at?
Here?
We have, here?
Well, here are the community, or the.
Well, you have to get,
community
you have to get permission at the community center, and if we can't, or, at the community center, yeah, that's
Permission.
open.
Oh, yeah.
The community center would be open, and, because the senior center would probably be, I don't know. if
Oh,
we
they
can-
got a dinner, right?
Yeah.
They got stuff.
So we can get in contact with the senior center, correct?
Yep.
If they're unavailable, we can use the community center.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why it's there. Excellent, and then we can take a good look at the lamping. All right. So, we have 2 dates, October 21st at 6 PM and October 28th at 6 PM. Can we make a motion for this, not having the location?
With location to be determined, to be determined.
Mondays are good for the senior center.
Thank you.
We'll just leave it empty right now, because
yeah.
we have to ask,
Location to be
to
determined.
be
Well,
determined.
I can't speak for Diane.
Okay, do we have a motion to set the public hearing for the water tower,
Public meeting.
public meeting for the water tower project? The public meetings for the water tower project, October 21st at 6 PM and October 28th at 6 PM, location to be determined.
I'll motion.
Thank you,
I'll second.
thank you. Anything further? Those in favor say aye.
I-
Those opposed? Motion carried. Excellent. So, Mr. Jeffries, you can, in your spare time, you will get in touch with seniors and see if there's availability.
I have heard it from a good source recently that Mondays might be okay for the senior center.
Excellent. We have good sources. Wonderful.
Check this.
So I'll check into it.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, moving on. Councilors' comments. Council, the floor is yours.
I don't have anything tonight.
Actually, Buhl is doing, the working session October 8th at the senior center, and so, I can't remember, I think it's like 9 to 4 PM, I'm not quite sure, but there'll be different, people speaking. I know, IRRR, someone from there, and, a couple other people that'll be speaking, and so, it'll be a good working session, it's free,
On the 8th
on the 8th
of October. Okay, so that's next Tuesday?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Well,
There's a lot going on.
yeah.
I know it's a busy month.
Crazy.
And then, of course, the Buhl, the Halloween party, the parade, the party, I'm sure you're probably gonna speak on that. And then
Cover it.
and then the dance, on the 26th of October, so that'll be fun. And I think Kenny's doing something too on the 27th of October, so.
Are they?
Yeah, they're having their on that same Sunday, so it'll be a good weekend for kids.
Yeah.
Collect candy.
Oh, man. Just what they need, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Anything more?
Do you wanna put out the dates that we have for, later voting here?
Sure. Do you want me to go get, I don't have them with me.
Are they, if they're the same, so they will be, City Hall will be opened on the 29th till 7 o'clock, it's a Tuesday. They will also be open Saturday, the 26th from 9 to 3. They'll be open Saturday, the 2nd from 9 to 3. They'll be open Sunday, 9 to 3. They will be open until 5 o'clock on November 4th. And then they will be also up here till 8 o'clock on Election Day.
That's correct, that tracks with what I remember. Yep.
So that's for absentee voting. They gave a lot of available times for everybody.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you. Do you have anything further, Renee?
No.
Mr. Fowler?
November 5th. That's normally a council meeting. Do we have it?
We moved
pushed
it,
back?
We moved it to the 6th.
we moved it to the 6th.
I just couldn't remember. Yeah, like was mentioned before, the rec board is super excited about the Halloween parade, party, dance, all of the things. So it'll be a good lengthy day. A lot of fun, and a lot of people helping out this year, a lot, so
Good.
thank you to everyone. That's about it.
Halloween's so fun. Hopefully the weather holds out. It's kind of a sketchy time of year to be doing parades and stuff, but we've been pretty lucky.
Christmas parade.
Yeah. Okay, on to mayor's comments. I just want to touch on what Mr. Jeffries spoke on earlier. The campaign stuff. We're all neighbors, we're all brothers and sisters, all of us. Obviously, we're gonna have difference of opinion, different ideas of how things should work. I just want to stress that people need to realize that, and we need to be able to work together. If we're all in the same boat, and half of us are rolling forward and half of us are rolling backwards, we're going in circles. And I know it seems like every single election it gets worse and worse. There's a lot of gaslighting by the media. People get worked up. Please keep in mind, we're all neighbors. We're all brothers and sisters. And we won't agree on everything. But if we work together and we all roll this boat forward, it's gonna be a lot better place to live. We're all neighbors. Treat each other as so. And leave the political signs alone. That's childish stuff. I mean, I wish we could all be past that, but we had to have the conversation. Also, there's still fishing weather. Get out, bring your kid fishing. Outdoors is wonderful. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
No motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Anything further, council? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned 8:15.